Hi, this is Vanshika Chauhan and I am working as a legal intern with Lexis & Company, and I'll be dealing with the topic remedies available to a person who has been awarded death penalty and a case associated with it, which is Shabnam versus State of UP. What happened in this case was there was a girl named Shabnam who had a love affair with Salim, and both of them were in their early 20s when 7 people of Shabnam's family were brutally murdered, and the only survivor was Shabnam. So Salim and Shabnam had a relationship which was contested by the parents of Shabnam and the family of Shabnam, and eventually Shabnam got pregnant, which led to the fact that both planned and executed the murder because the family was against their relationship and they wanted to stay together. So on 14th April 2008, 7 members of Shabnam's family were brutally murdered, and the only survivor was Shabnam in Amroha, which was the hometown of Shabnam. And Shabnam claimed that some unidentified assailants had come to her house in the middle of the night and killed her family. Whereas the post-mortem report said that they had found traces of tranquilizer diazepam in the bodies of all the members of the family except for that of an infant of 10 months old, and who was also a victim of the heinous crime. But he was not murdered by the tranquilizer, he was choked to death. And the police suspected Shabnam because of the blood-stained clothes that she had and the call records which have been extracted by the police between her and Salim before and after the murder took place. So it was concluded that the investigation of the police concluded that Shabnam had drugged them and Salim had killed them by cutting their necks with an axe. In 2010, Amroha Session Court awarded a death sentence to both of them, and which was further upheld by the Allahabad High Court in 2013 for murdering 7 people and an infant as well. In May 2015, a 3-judge bench of the Supreme Court upheld the death sentence. Further, in accordance with the judgment of the Supreme Court, the Amroha Session Court issued a warrant which for the execution of the order of the Supreme Court, which cited that the punishment should be awarded as soon as possible. A fact that has to be considered here is that the Supreme Court's order of execution, execution was a blatant violation of the fundamental right of the convicts, as it did not give them the mandatory 30-day period time for filing the review petition with the court. And also they did not have enough time to exhaust their remedies of mercy petition before the governor and the president. Further, the death penalty litigation clinic of NLU Delhi along with Shabnam filed a writ petition for quashing the execution order by the Sessions Court. Then subsequently Shabnam filed a writ petition and the vacation bench of Supreme Court quashed the execution order which was given by the Sessions Court of Amroha, citing that the warrant was issued without observing the mandatory period of 30 days which was provided to file the review petition. Post this, both the convicted filed a review petition of the Supreme Court's order of upholding the execution of the death penalty. So the case was heard in open court, and the contention of the counsel's convict was that they had good conduct and the behavior of the duo was good during their incarceration, so they should be excused for the same. The Supreme Court said that the purpose of the court is to serve the society and they cannot forgive a convict because of his good behavior, and every criminal has a good heart, but that does not mean that a criminal act should be overlooked because of that. So the Supreme Court upheld the death penalty and stated that it was a purely premeditated offence. Further, in 2015, Shabnam approached the UP Governor Ram Nair, filing a mercy petition with him, stating that she has responsibility of her kid and she should be excused for the same. The governor rejected her mercy petition, so further she filed a mercy petition with the president in 2016, who was Pranab Mukherjee, the then president of India, and he again rejected the mercy petition. So the case concluded with denying the mercy petition which has been filed by the convicts. This brings us to the topic of various remedies that are available to the person who has been awarded the death penalty. The very first step is the trial court, wherein the original judgment has been passed of death penalty. The convict can appeal to the High Court, and if the High Court confirms under Section 366(1) of the CRPC, then it can be appealed further to the Supreme Court. If further the Supreme Court confirms the death penalty, the convict has the right to file a review petition under Article 137 of the Indian Constitution. Filing of a review petition requires two necessary conditions, which are if there is a introduction of a new evidence, or if there is a mistake in the judgment itself. If these two necessities are not satisfied, a review petition cannot be filed. Further, if the review petition is also rejected, the convict has the right to file a curative petition. Curative petition is filed when there is merit and substance, and if the court finds that there is merit and substance in the case itself, then the case goes back to the court wherein the death penalty had been issued. If the curative petition is also rejected, the last resort which is left for the convict is the mercy petition. Article 72 of the Indian Constitution confers upon the President the power to grant mercy petition. Similarly, Article 161 confers upon the State Governor to grant mercy petition. Both these articles grant the power that they can either commute or pardon entirely the sentence of the convict. This brings us to the process of how a mercy petition is filed and how mercy petition is addressed by the President of India. So, a relative of the prisoner or the prisoner himself has to file in written a mercy petition to the President. The President's secretary on his behalf accepts the mercy petition and sends it to the Home Ministry for further recommendation and comments. The Home Ministry discusses the same with the state government of the concerned case and returns the same with recommendations and comments to the President. The final call is of the President to either accept the mercy petition or reject it, and it is wholly upon the President to either consider the recommendations and comments of the Home Ministry. So the President has 5 major powers while granting a mercy petition. The very first power is the pardoning power, wherein the President can remove the conviction as well as the sentence. Second is the commute, wherein the President can change the nature or type of punishment. For example, if a person is sentenced with death row punishment, then it can be commuted to life imprisonment. Third is remission, wherein the type cannot be changed but the degree of punishment can be altered. For example, if a person is sentenced with 20 years of punishment, then it can be altered to 10 years or 5 years of punishment. The fourth one is respite, which is a change of punishment under special circumstances. For example, there is disability or a woman gets pregnant, then in these cases, this power can be utilized. The fifth one is reprieve, wherein the execution is delayed, giving time to the convicts to exhaust all the remedies that are available for them. Thank you.